Hi everyone, this is the video for the ELED 4700 practicum course for the reflection assignment, lesson planning, and instruction. So I have written or typed everything out in narrative format, and I'll be reading from that just so that I don't forget anything that I want to say in this video. My name is Virginia Smith, and today I will be reflecting on 9 lessons I created and taught during my practicum experience. These lessons span kindergarten, 3rd grade, and 4th grade and cover literacy, research, comprehension strategies, fractions, data representation, and math review skills. I'll share what I learned about planning, instruction, assessment, and the incredible feedback I received from Dr. Goff and my mentor. So my kindergarten lessons, lesson 1 was on Martin Luther King Jr. Students learned about Martin Luther King Jr. through read-alouds, vocabulary, introduction, and idea web activities. Dr. Goff's feedback included strengths, which were student engagement, strong visuals, and lesson recaps. Suggestions included scaffold writing more heavily and incorporate phonics modeling. Lesson 2 was titled Tiger's Research Map. And students practiced research skills in tigers using multiple sources and created a research map. And the reason why I included research maps, which were a major thing that I included in my kindergarten lessons, was because the end of the year project that they would be completing included taking an animal that they picked on their own, using their research skills that they learned, and creating an informational booklet. So lesson 2, Dr. Goff's feedbacks included strengths, which were strong vocabulary modeling and structure. Suggestions were to clarify turn and talk instructions, reinforce vocabulary repetition. So on clarify turn and talk, that means she wanted me to give my instruction before telling them to go. That way they weren't moving while I was still giving instructions. So lesson 3 in my kindergarten practicum experience was on ocean habitat, and this included still using the skills learning to research certain topics. So students explored the ocean habitat using articles, books, and videos, and completed idea webs. Dr. Goff's feedback included strengths, which were excellent modeling and student engagement, suggestions, pre-model full sentence answers, and manage calling out. So some students were calling out and not raising their hand when they wanted to talk. So moving on to my 3rd grade lessons for my 3rd grade practicum experience. My first lesson in 3rd grade was on text features and digital articles. So students explored text features in an article about Amelia Earhart and played a text feature matching game. I had cards where they would match a certain text feature to its definition of what it was. Dr. Goff's feedback strengths included clear, gradual release and specific modeling, suggestions, full directions before turn and talk, professional conduct reminder. I did chew gum during this lesson, and ever since Dr. Goff pointed out that it was not professional to do so, I have not. My second lesson in my 3rd grade practicum experience was asking and answering questions, which aligned to the story Octopus Escapes Again, and that was the digital text that we used. Description, students practiced comprehension strategies by asking and answering questions throughout a narrative nonfiction text. Dr. Goff's feedback included strengths, which were excellent vocabulary work and purpose setting for reading. Suggestions included increased turn and talk opportunities, encourage eye tracking during read-alouds. My 3rd lesson for my 3rd grade practicum experience was analyzing text features in the same story, Octopus Escapes Again. Students revisited the text Octopus Escapes Again and focused on analyzing bold text, diagrams, and sidebars. Those were the specific text features that were included in Octopus Escapes Again. Dr. Goff's feedback included strengths, which were consistent vocabulary reinforcement and excellent modeling. So from my 2nd lesson to my 3rd lesson in my 3rd grade practicum experience, the same vocabulary was used. Suggestions, keep anchor charts posted for reference. So I did use an anchor chart, but after I went over it, I put it away and it was not posted, like for students to see throughout the whole lesson. Moving on to my 4th grade lessons, my first lesson in 4th grade was adding mixed numbers with like denominators. We reviewed fractions, mixed numbers, and improper fractions before focusing on adding mixed numbers, including a video and worksheet practice. Students really enjoyed the video that I included. It gave them a quick review. not quick review. It gave them like an overview of what we would learn for that day. Dr. Goff's feedback included strengths, which was outstanding instruction, clear modeling, engaging pacing, and exceptional teacher instincts. Suggestions included emphasize using student-friendly learning targets instead of just listing the full Georgia standards. So in this lesson, I did have the full Georgia standard listed with the learning targets, but she suggested that taking the standard away because that's really not kid-friendly, and just including the learning targets, that students would grasp that better. My third lesson in fourth grade included understanding dot and line plots. So students measured real objects around the classroom and recorded measurements on line plots. So Dr. Goff's strengths included hands-on engagement, great modeling, clear participation management. Her suggestions were to ensure consistent X sizing on line plots, where I showed an example of making X's. My X's were bigger in some areas than others. Have students observe before independently working, possibly incorporate partner activities for reasoning practice. Oh, I'm sorry, that was not my third lesson. Moving on to my third lesson, it was review of place value, rounding, and comparing numbers for the Georgia milestone, and I used a game called Zoink. Description, students reviewed key math skills through a fun Zoink review game in preparation for Georgia milestones. So Dr. Goff's feedback included strengths. It was highly engaging, strong scaffolding, good explanations of multiple math concepts. Suggestions, she did have one suggestion that was to clarify connection between gameplay and math problems early in the lesson, but shortly after she made that comment, I had explained it and she got it. Overall reflection. So reflection on learning targets. Every lesson had clear student-friendly learning targets aligned to the Georgia Standard of Excellence, including that lesson that had the Georgia Standard. It still included learning targets. In kindergarten, students focused on comprehension, informational writing, and research. In third grade, the emphasis was on comprehension strategies, analyzing text features, and narrative nonfiction. In fourth grade, lessons focused on fraction operations, data representation, place value, and test preparation skills. So personal understanding. Writing and delivering these lessons helped me recognize the need for a balance between meeting standards and ensuring the learning targets are accessible to students. Evaluation of activities, effectiveness. Interactive activities like idea webs, turn and talks, graphic organizers, research maps, line plot measurements, Zoink games, and hands-on math tasks help students remain highly engaged and supported multiple learning styles. Class participation. Participation was strongest during partner activities, group games, interactive measurements, and hands-on investigation. So working with the partner, working around the room, working with their hands, that was when participation was the highest for all the students across the board. Assessment and feedback. Clarity of assessment. Formative assessments, which were my main ones that I used during my lessons, like worksheets, class discussions, observation, and game-based response, provides timely, actionable data on student understanding. So, for example, in multiple lessons when they were working independently or with a partner, I was walking around the room with my mentor teacher as well, and we were looking at what the student was doing, and we were able to correct right then and there if they were making a mistake, what their thought process was. So it was very, observation was a big one of my formative assessments, and that was very timely, actionable data. That's what I mean by that. Responding to feedback. I applied Dr. Goff's suggestions immediately, adjusting how I introduced tasks, ensuring explicit modeling before student work, and scaffolding vocabulary and strategies more deeply. Suggestions for improvement, lesson content. I would continue simplifying complex standards into student-friendly language and using more visuals and anchor charts to reinforce key skills. Activity adjustments. I would add more active learning transitions to balance listening and movement, especially in math lessons. And assessment challenges for suggestions for improvement. I would like to consistently implement quick quick exit tickets, or short reflection questions to verify student understanding at the end of each lesson. So instead of like I did in multiple lessons where I would ask if anyone has any questions about what we just did, or even reviewing what we went through, I want to implement an exit ticket where students share their work independently. That way I can see their work where they aren't just required to raise their hand if they do have a question. Personal insights. Broader experience connections. My practicum experience taught me that effective teaching requires not just strong planning, but also daily reflection, flexibility, and real understanding how young learners think and engage. Impact on future learning. I now feel confident designing and adapting lessons based on standards, student needs, and real-time feedback. I am excited to bring these skills and insights to my future classroom. Closing. Thank you so much for listening to my reflection. I'm proud of how much I have grown during this practicum, and I look forward to continue to build meaningful, engaging, and student-centered lessons in my future teaching career. Thank you.